Doodly-doo. Took a shower. Feel clean. I look like I have a fucking baby face right now because I'm still working on losing weight I'm still working on losing weight here and in the face region. So it's not fully where I want it to be yet, but that is okay. Another thing I want to talk about. I just need to clean up my desktop real quick. This shit is getting out of hand. Boom. Okay. So I got another story to tell. We get 2 stories back to back. So lucky. Last time I told 2 stories back to back, it was 1 story from stream, which is actually getting I'm getting like views lately. I'm like really excited. God of War, the God of War episodes for whatever reason have started to really get views. Like part 17 has 43 right now. Part 18 has 15, and just today part 19 already has 5. So they're doing numbers on jaw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to preface this story by saying people truly do live in a different world than I live in. It's mind-blowing how crazy the mindset of some people is, or are, whatever the right one is. There's this guy who came in, already not the biggest fan of his demeanor. He comes in, he is standing outside while his kid just walks in and starts looking at ice cream. I'm like, hello, how are you, blah blah blah. This man is on the phone, speakerphone, and he is, you know, just talking about whatever he's talking about, completely ignoring his kid. Comes in, I'm like, okay, so he's ready to get off the phone because he's starting to come inside. Not the case. He's on the phone the entire time that I'm trying to figure out what he wants. You know, I'm like, hey, hi, welcome in. Ignored. You guys getting a cake today? Looks at me. Turns back. Okay, and I'm just like, all right, let me know if you want anything. Like, let me know if I can help you. Again, just completely ignored. So he's on the phone. I overhear some words, like just some business jargon, and then the words class action lawsuit, and I'm like, okay. So he's just talking away. His kid is just wandering around looking at ice cream. I'm trying to make her feel better because obviously this is like nothing new to her when it comes to like just, I don't know, being ignored. And like, I get it. I know that feeling. So I was just trying to cheer her up. Gave her some samples, what she wanted. When he finally picks a cake, and I'm like, would you like anything written on it? And they're like, and he's like looking at me, and I'm like waiting for him to respond. He like takes like a full ass 30 seconds, and he's like, yeah, just happy birthday, Jade. I'm like, okay. Is it J? But I heard J at first, so it's like, I'm like, J-A-Y, and he's like, no, J-A-D-E. Like all like really passive aggressively. It was this guy, everything about him was just off. He just seemed kind of douchey. And you know, so I go over there and I'm writing the cake. I start writing the cake, writing on the cake, thinking that it had been paid for, because that's what you're supposed to do. You pay for the cake, and then I write on it just in case, for whatever reason, something like what I'm about to say happens. So I wrote on the cake, and I'm like, oh shit, wait, you didn't pay? Because if something goes wrong and you don't have the money or whatever, now we just are down a cake because I wrote something on it, and very unlikely that someone else is going to come in with exactly what I wrote on it. Plus I'm always forgetting the letter in birthday. I'm forgetting the R's, the I's, the T's, so it ends up being birthday or birthday. But I try and write it in super close cursive so it's not necessarily noticeable when it happens. But I wrote on it, and he's trying to pay for it, and boom, exactly why we make sure that they pay for it first before we written on it happens. His card is getting declined. I believe it was a credit card. Or a debit card, whichever. I don't know how credit cards work exactly, but I think it was a debit card. He bought a $30 cake because that's the lowest price we have, and he puts his card in and it only takes $2.83. All right, so there's like $27 left. We're like, oh, it only took $2.83. He's like, what? Fuck, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, it's saying maybe we can try it again. So he puts it back in. Then it said transaction or card declined, and he's just cussing and being all flustered, and like, I'm starting to feel bad for him because obviously, you know, I don't know, like I'm not gonna front a bill for $27 if it was like $2 just to get him out of there quicker, because it was 9:45, 15 minutes before closing. I would have been like, yeah, dude, just go ahead, I'll take care of the $2. But no, it was $27, so I wasn't gonna do that. So he's just cussing and being like, oh man, shit, fuck, they taking money out my shit. And I'm like, okay, there is nothing I can do at this point, right? So he starts calling like 4 to 5 people asking for money, and I'm like, well, what time, what day do you need the cake for? And he's like, I need it tonight. I'm like, oh, okay. Because if he needed it for like tomorrow, I would be like, yeah, I can hold it for you so you can come back tomorrow with the money, right? So I can give you the shit. And he's like, no, I need it tonight. And I'm like, okay. He's asking us like, there ain't nothing you can do for me, man. And like, he's talking to this 17-year-old kid who my employee that night. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? It's like, no, there's nothing. That's not how business works. And this baffled me. Like, it's gonna get worse, trust me. It baffled me so much that I'm like, oh, I'm not even gonna wait for Constant to come into stream. I just called him. I called him on Discord while I was counting money that night. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? It blew my mind. He was calling people for money, and again, obviously he finally got someone to Zelle him or whatever. And he paid for the cake, and while it was transitioning, while the transaction was taking place, he's like, you know, if I was in your position, I would have covered it, man. That's fucked up. He said it's fucked up that we didn't try and cover and front $30 for a random fucking guy who is already being kind of an asshole. This man was asking really on God for he was asking for a free cake. You are trying to get to us saying, you know, if I was in your position, I would have covered me, man. I'm like, bro, you can't even cover yourself. You're the one trying to buy the cake. He turned this situation around, trying to make it our problem. He tried to make it my problem that he didn't have the money. Everything that he wanted that night is we had it. If it was like a situation where, man, because we ran out of, for example, ran out of Wild and Reckless. It's a sherbet, right? If someone's like, oh man, that's all I wanted, man, I would have felt bad, and I probably would have done something extra, right? But then we had what he wanted, and I wrote on the cake for him. And he's trying to make it my problem, like our problem. Like, no, you would not have covered the bill. If like, I don't know you, you're being an asshole, you're ignoring your kid, and you're trying to make us feel bad because you're the one who can't fucking manage his money right. And then he tried to make it a race thing because he was black. Like, bro, this is not this is not what's going on here, bud. I do not care the color of your skin. I only care about whether or not you're being a dick, and you were being a dick. So, I mean, I guess that's that. It was crazy. Like, bro, the color of your skin right now is not what it never will and never has been my worry. Like, I've never actually had. I knew it was going to happen at some point, but I always thought it was going to be a dasher, right? I always thought it was going to be a person of color that's a dasher, who I'm trying to get them to press the confirm pickup button, and they'll be like, "Oh, what? So you don't trust me? You don't trust? Is it because I'm black or because I'm Asian?" Like, bro, no, that is not. Bro, get over yourself. Like, this is. Oh, if I was in your position, I would have, you know, handled the bill. Like, motherfucker, no, you would not have. You are capping. So what you did is just lie to me, because you're gonna say, oh, I would have covered the bill, when you can't even cover yourself. All right, the moral of the story is, you're not getting a free cake, man. This man wanted a free cake. Whack a doodle, dude. That's some crazy shit going on at the Baskin Robbins, dude.